The first crash sounded like a gunshot. I jolted awake to the sound of twisting metal and scattering gravel. When I stepped out onto my porch, the beam from my flashlight hit what used to be my mailbox, bent at a 45-degree angle. Post snapped clean. Subscribe for more real stories about standing up to bullies and beating them at their own game. A set of fresh tire tracks curved through the ditch like a signature I already knew whose. Across the street, a silver Lexus SUV idled for a few seconds under the glow of a street lamp before creeping back to its driveway. Karen Mitchell, HOA Vice President, Queen of Citations and self-appointed enforcer of neighborhood standards. She pretended not to see me standing there barefoot in the cold. By morning, an email from the HOA hit my inbox, subject line Mailbox Non-Compliance Notice. I laughed out loud. She'd hit my mailbox and fined me for structural disorder. The photo she attached showed my demolished post, captioned with a cheery, "Please repair within 72 hours to maintain community aesthetics." I replied, "Will do," after the police report clears. The next evening, I set a cheap security camera on the porch railing. Nothing fancy, just motion activated with night vision. I figured that'd stop whoever was behind this. But a week later, I heard the same sound again. A metallic thunk followed by the faint rumble of tires. The footage showed Karen's Lexus backing out, cutting too sharp and smashing my brand new replacement. Then she calmly got out, examined the damage and pushed it over the rest of the way. The HOA met that Thursday. I brought my laptop. When I presented the clip, Karen interrupted mid-sentence. "Those cameras violate privacy guidelines," she said, flipping through her printed bylaws binder. "Section 3A, surveillance of common property requires approval." "That's my property line," I said, pointing at the curb on the screen. "Mailbox, post and footage are within my parcel boundary. Flat maps on file." The president, a mild guy named Greg, cleared his throat. "Let's all calm down. Accidents happen. 3 in 3 weeks," I said. "Same driver, same car, same damage." Karen folded her arms, smirking like this was a neighborhood book club spat. "I think you're exaggerating, Ryan," she said. "And frankly, those cheap mailboxes are a hazard." Hazard. That word stuck with me. 2 nights later, I installed something new, a reinforced steel mailbox with an internal post core, rated to stop a baseball bat, a hammer, or theoretically a small car. I didn't tell anyone. By Saturday morning, Karen's Lexus had a dent the size of a bowling ball in its bumper. My mailbox didn't even flinch. She came storming up my driveway, sunglasses on, recording with her phone like she was building her own case. "You can't put that in," she snapped. "It's dangerous. It's a threat to public safety." "It's DOT approved," I said, showing her the spec sheet printed from the manufacturer's website. "Meets USPS regulations and HOA setback requirements. I even painted it the same beige you mandated." She sputtered. "You'll be hearing from the board." And I did, another notice, this time citing non-traditional construction and potential liability risk. They demanded I remove it within 10 days or face fines, so I filed a counterclaim: malicious property damage, ongoing harassment, and abuse of authority under the HOA charter. That's when things escalated. Next morning, "I found tire marks on my lawn and a note stuffed in the mailbox slot." "Maybe next time it won't just be your post." I saved it in a plastic sleeve and called a friend of mine, a county deputy who'd dealt with HOA disputes before. He told me to keep documenting everything. Timestamps, photos, emails, call logs. "They'll hang themselves with their own words," he said. And he was right. Within a week, Karen filed an official HOA complaint accusing me of aggressive behavior and dangerous modifications. But what she didn't know, my new camera setup didn't just catch the curb. It caught her dropping that note. Her license plate, time-stamped at 6:42 a.m., crystal clear in the frame. I backed it up 3 times, local drive, cloud, and flash. That evening, I poured myself a coffee, sat on the porch, and watched her drive by, slow, glaring at the unbent mailbox. I smiled and raised the mug. That's when I knew this wasn't just about metal and paint anymore. It was about proof, and how far she'd go before the HOA realized who the real liability was. By the time the 3rd notice from the HOA arrived, I had a folder thicker than their entire rulebook. Every email, every friendly reminder, every late-night drive-by, time-stamped, geotagged, cross-referenced. I wasn't reacting anymore. I was building a case file. The board called for a special compliance inspection. Translation: Karen wanted a front row seat to my humiliation. I scheduled it. Then I spent the next 48 hours turning my front yard into an evidence exhibit. First thing, I marked the exact property boundary using survey stakes from the county assessor's office. Karen had once tried to claim the mailbox sat on common land. The plat map said otherwise. I printed a copy at 200% scale and laminated it. Next, I upgraded my cameras, discreet ones this time. A 4K doorbell cam, a trail cam tucked behind a flower pot, and a motion sensor mounted under the eave. All synced to a private cloud with redundant storage. By the time the inspection day came, I was ready. Karen arrived in her Lexus, clipboard in hand, dragging along Greg, the HOA president, and 2 other board members. Her sunglasses reflected my new mailbox like it was her sworn enemy. "Well," she started, "we have concerns about the aggressive design of this structure." "Aggressive design?" I asked. "It's a mailbox, not a missile silo," she sniffed. Section 8C of the guidelines clearly prohibits structures that could pose injury in a vehicle. Impact. I pulled a folder from my pocket and opened it. Right to Section 8C. That section covers decorative landscape barriers, not USPS mail receptacles. Also, page 74, Appendix C, the board approved reinforced mailboxes in 2019 after a vandalism spike. Greg blinked at me. "How do you—" "I actually read the bylaws," I said. Karen's face tightened. "We'll still have to issue a temporary citation." "Understood," I said, sliding a USB stick across the hood of her car. "That's video footage of you hitting my property. 3 separate incidents. For your records," she froze mid-gesture. "Excuse me?" "Motion cam, curb view, time-stamped metadata," I said evenly. "Already filed under Police Report 448K. If you'd like to dispute, I'd be happy to include your written statement." The 2 other board members exchanged looks. Greg cleared his throat again, the way people do when they realize they're standing next to a live wire. Karen didn't say a word. She just turned and walked back to her SUV, still clutching her clipboard like it could block the truth. After that, things went quiet for about a week. Then the emails started. Not from Karen this time, but from anonymous accounts. "You think you're clever. Back off before you regret it." Classic intimidation stuff. I traced the headers. Local IP, same subnet as Karen's HOA laptop. She wasn't even hiding it well. That's when I decided to bring in backup. My cousin Sam is a civil attorney. Dry humor, sharper mind. I sent him the entire case folder. Videos, screenshots, GPS data from the Lexus drive-bys I'd logged, using a Bluetooth tracker hidden near the curb. He called me an hour later. "This is gold," he said. "You've got vandalism, harassment, and abuse of power under HOA mismanagement statutes. File a cease and desist. Make it official." We drafted it that night. Legal letterhead, certified mail, signature required. I made sure Karen had to sign for it personally. By morning, I got confirmation. She did. That's when she switched tactics. She stopped hitting my mailbox and started lobbying the board to pass a mailbox uniformity policy. Basically a rule that would make my setup illegal retroactively. Petty but predictable, I went 2 steps ahead. I invited the local postal inspector to review my installation. He measured, photographed, and filed a compliance certificate on the spot. Federal Trump's HOA Karen didn't take it well. She cornered me at the next HOA meeting, her tone all sugar. "You're making this harder than it needs to be, Ryan," she said quietly. "We could just start over." "Sure," I said. "Oh, start by paying for 3 destroyed mailboxes." Her smile cracked. "You'll regret this." "I doubt it," I said. "But your insurance company might." Because what she didn't know yet, I'd already shared the entire file with them too, including the video of her backing into my property. That night, I sat at my desk scrolling through the footage again. I wasn't just documenting a feud anymore. I was orchestrating an endgame, and the bulletproof mailbox, it wasn't just protection, it was bait. By the time the quarterly HOA meeting rolled around, the tension in the neighborhood was thick enough to slice with a trowel. Karen had been unusually quiet, which meant one thing. She was plotting. The notice said, "Agenda Mailbox Policy Review." I almost laughed. After everything, police reports, insurance claims, video evidence, she still thought she could legislate her way out. I arrived early. Laptop charged, projector cable packed, every file neatly labeled in a folder titled Mailbox Incidents Exhibits A through F. When the meeting started, Karen opened with her usual authority voice. Neighbors, it's come to the board's attention that certain homeowners have installed unsafe, non-compliant structures. As your vice president, it's my duty to maintain community safety. I stood. Before you continue, I'd like to add context. She frowned. You're not on the agenda, Ryan. Actually, I said, holding up a printed email chain, I requested speaking time 3 days ago per Section 2D. You approved it. Her eyes narrowed. Greg sighed. Go ahead, Ryan. I connected my laptop to the projector. The first frame appeared, a clear night, headlights sweeping across asphalt. Then the crunch. Karen's Lexus bumping my mailbox clean off its post. Gasps rippled across the room. The second clip showed her backing up, inspecting the damage, and giving the post a deliberate shove. Timestamp 11:43 p.m. Date 3 days before her non-compliance citation against me. I let the silence hang before speaking. That's Exhibit A property damage, repeated. Same vehicle, same driver. Karen shot up. This is defamation. Actually, it's evidence, I said. Chain of custody verified, metadata intact, filed under police report number 448K. I'd advise you to sit before you make that statement official. Greg's mouth opened, closed, then opened again. Karen, is that your vehicle? She sputtered. It could be anyone's. The next slide came up, a screenshot of the license plate. Crisp under the porch light. The room went dead quiet. I switched to the next exhibit, the threatening note, preserved in its plastic sleeve. Alongside the handwriting analysis report, Sam helped me get through a local forensics contact. Partial match. Not conclusive, but suggestive. Finally, I brought up the HOA's own bylaws, highlighted passages showing Karen's violations of conduct, misuse of authority, and conflict of interest. I've been cited 3 times for damage she caused, I said. I've been harassed by anonymous emails sent from the HOA network, which I traced. And I've filed an insurance claim naming both the driver and the association as liable. Greg looked like he wanted to disappear. Ryan, I wasn't aware of this. You are now. That's when 2 uniformed deputies entered the room. Not for drama, just timing. They were there to deliver the restraining order notice I'd filed that morning. One of them, Deputy Harris, nodded at me as he handed the papers to Karen. You can't be serious, she whispered. Completely, I said. Signed by the county judge this morning. Effective immediately. You're barred from contacting me directly or indirectly regarding property matters. The murmurs in the crowd turned to a low roar. Neighbors exchanged glances, some shocked, some satisfied. A few even clapped quietly. Karen's composure cracked. You think this is over? You've just made enemies, Ryan. No, I said. I've made boundaries. The meeting adjourned in chaos. Karen stormed out, her clipboard forgotten on the table. Inside it, neatly clipped under her agenda notes, was something that caught Greg's eye, a draft motion to remove him as president. It was never about me. She'd been positioning herself for control all along. A week later, the HOA board voted unanimously to remove her, not for hitting mailboxes, though the insurance company settled that part quickly, but for conduct unbecoming and breach of fiduciary duty. The payout covered my replacements, the cameras and then some. I donated what was left to the local veterans' home. My new mailbox still stands. The same steel post, same bulletproof shell, same quiet defiance. Every morning I check the mail with a small smile. It's not about revenge anymore, it's about record-keeping. Because bullies hate documentation. And if you've ever had to deal with an HOA power trip of your own, keep your receipts. Keep your cameras rolling. Truth, when filed properly, is bulletproof.